Okay, hello again. I still have the bacon shirt because it's the same day. I realize my videos aren't polished, they're not super funny, they aren't entertaining, but I am out here and we're gonna do this. So hopefully you can follow along and enjoy it somewhat, get something out of it. That's the point. So the first video on biblical misinterpretations or misperceptions of what the Bible means. The most important one, the biggest change that's coming up on the horizon that is going to be a huge shakeup is the fact that Jesus in the Gospels, especially Matthew, that was a gospel mostly addressed and meant for the Hebrew people. Jesus is not trying to start a new religion. He's not trying to get a different, what shall we say, a completely different thought system out of Hebrewism. He, according to Paul, is the fulfillment of what we read about in the Old Testament. Now, a little bit about me. I'm a journalist. I have a degree from Ohio State University. I've been around the world doing journalism most of my life. Well, not around the world most of my life, but doing journalism most of my life, and I've been around the world somewhat with that. That being said, when I was in the Middle East, I read the Old Testament a lot for reasons that maybe we'll talk about later. I was reading it a lot. And then I had a chance to go to Israel. Now, when I went to Israel, that is where everything happened. As far as the Bible's concerned, I'm saying. It was very interesting. Thought about a lot of things when I was there. And when I got back, talked to some friends, through a little bit of study, a little bit more thinking, a little more discussion and dinners with friends, it started to occur to me that Jesus was teaching the law of the Hebrew people. He was teaching the law of Moses for about 85% of his teaching. Now, what is the evidence for that? The evidence is that he was in discussions with teachers of the law, the Pharisees. When he brings up one of the laws, like love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself, that is from the law in the Old Testament. You can look it up and see. All right. He's talking to lawyers. That's law. I don't even know. Look, why was I in church for 40 years and that wasn't obvious to me? Because it wasn't. And I think it's because we have these traditions that go on and on and on, and we are taught by other people who teach us from a certain perspective, and then possibly all of a sudden, new information comes along, and we realize that it's something different. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know why people have missed it. I don't know how I could have missed it. Super obvious now. What does it mean that Jesus was teaching the law? Well, how does that affect Christian theology? Well, Christian theology is pretty much based on Jesus's teachings in the Gospels being meant for Christians to live out, to try to live out as best they can. And that, putting two to two together, if Jesus was actually teaching the law and we are trying to live his words when he was teaching the law, then we are trying to live the Hebrew law that nobody but Israel and God was supposed to be in that covenant relationship. They were the only ones. And according to Paul and the rest of the New Testament writers, that ended 2,000 years ago. Nobody was supposed to follow the law after Jesus rose from the dead after the cross. Nobody was supposed to follow the law. And it was only for the Hebrews anyway. So even if somebody looks today and is like, well, I think the law is still active. And it's like, well, then it's still not for the Gentiles anyway. So it still is not applicable. me being a Gentile. If you're a Jew, you might think it's applicable. And I know some Jewish people that do think the law is still applicable to them. And that's fine. But the Christian religion has seemingly been built around the law. When in most of our New Testament books from Paul is saying we don't follow the law anymore. It had its place, it had its goals at one time, but now it doesn't. So there's a better way. The book of Hebrews says the law has been given up because Jesus brought better promises. All right. We will talk about that some more later, and that's probably plenty to think about right now. Peace out.